Hello. So I'm just wondering, how do we get
I
to?
received my bachelor's degree in political science. I have my Master of Arts in Government. I have my Master's of Science in Public Policy. And I have my PhD in Community Development Public Affairs. I am also a professor at Johns Hopkins University where I teach education and policy, not to mention, I'm also a political commentator.
To this? That's what I want to know.
What did she say?
Say what?
Hello, this is your girl Nita Q, and this is another Say What episode. Now, we here at BYOK, we are all about like empowerment and lifting up others, and I try to be more careful about my content nowadays for that reason. So we are on Dr. Wendy's side, but we want to know what happened. What's going on? Because when she started the Real Housewives of Potomac, it was just like, oh my God, like she's like this, like she just said, commentator, professor, like highly educated woman, and who married an attorney on top of that. So it's just like, I don't know, black glow, let your soul glow with the children and the melanin popping. And it's so like, I don't want to say disappointing because it's not like, I don't know, that seems kind of like I don't know, judgmental, but it is kind of a disappointment because we look up to her, right? Like we look up to her, and we did. And while if you are a Real House of Potomac person, you had to have noticed a little difference in her persona the more that she was, on the show, when she got like the butt lift, and the mommy makeover, basically, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like she was finding herself more when she was on the show, but I don't want to get into all of that because we're about to get into all of that. I have been looking at videos and reading articles, all types of things, because I want to know what could have went wrong. And no one's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, right? But I think a lot of people are just floored by it, kind of like when everybody found out about Bill Cosby, it's just kind of like, what? Hell no, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to start off by saying that everything in this video is totally alleged.
Allegedly. Allegations. Redacted. Allegedly. Allegations. Lawsuit. Honey.
So just want to let you know that. So everything that's in this video is alleged. We don't know. We're going off of other people's commentaries that wasn't there. We don't know the situation. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. So I don't even know where to start. So I started where I started, that was her intro when she first started the show, and we were just so excited. And I want to talk about like her being like labeled as the academic. There are the college graduates that are on Real House of Potomac, and so I kind of feel weird that they kind of like threw that out there like they're other people that have like academic backgrounds. However, she was, I guess it would be academic because she was a professor and she was actually in the education field. And I'm saying past tense because I believe she stepped down from her current job. She was teaching a course about being in reality TV. So at this point, she's just laying low. Happy Eddie's is still going. There was I don't know, kind of like an intrusive video out there where he was unpacking product out of his trunk and somebody was following him around. I didn't see the point of showing that because it's just kind of like, what? So we don't really know much about Eddie because he's not in the spotlight as much as Wendy, and so that is who we're going to get into today. So I'm sure everybody knows by now, like the TMZ video that came out where basically the county was like, no, we don't play this. We don't play this at all. But I just wanted to kind of highlight a little bit that video if you haven't seen it, which is really weird because if you are a fan, you probably would have seen this. But we're just gonna go through like the charges when he gets into that.
We're here to announce the indictment and arrest of Wendy and Edward Osefo of the 1900 block of Turnberry Court in Finksburg, Maryland. Both Wendy and Edward are reality actors in the series The Real Housewives of Potomac, Maryland, which is filmed partially from their residence in Finksburg, Maryland, an hour away. On April 7th, 2024, at approximately 10:13 p.m., deputies responded to a residence in the 1900 block of Turnberry Court in Finksburg for a reported burglary. Edward Osefo called 911 to report the burglary. Edward and Wendy Osefo, both from Finksburg, live at that address.
I'm making this a little bit faster.
And they have 3 school-age children. They reported that their home had been burglarized sometime between April 2nd and April 7th of 2024 while they were on vacation in Jamaica. The house would have been vacant at the time with no one house sitting. No one had a key to the residence, according to the Osefos. The Osefos claim that designer handbags and jewelry valued at more than $200,000 were missing from the primary residence bedroom upstairs. Responding patrol deputies handled the burglary according to policy and made contact with investigators with my major crimes unit to assist because of the dollar amount that was stolen.
Right. So that's the little, I'm glad we got that commercial break. Because here's the thing. Okay. So basically they falsified a robbery, and later on she was seen with some of those items, which were like over 50 items that were reported stolen. Where they messed up at, well, they messed up at by doing this at all, but where they allegedly messed up at is that they made claims for 3 different insurance companies. And so there was a claim with this one, a claim with that one, and so they just kept accumulating money from these insurances. Now, why these insurances don't talk, because I feel like when I was trying to shop for car insurance, like the car insurance companies knew about the other car insurance companies. So I'm just shocked that it kind of went this far where it didn't get detected right away, but it looks like when it was detected, like the detectives was on it, like, no, we don't do this. And so a lot of people feel like maybe it's half an example because she is a political commentator, and she's really, involved in that world. And so it could be, she could be being used as an example. She's an open Kamala Harris fan. So, or supporter in that sense. So a lot of people feel like she could have been targeted, and 2 things could be correct, right? Duality, right? She could be targeted, and she could also have played a part in this. And like I say, we don't know it. All of it is alleged. So, what have you. So I'm kind of quickly going through the beginning of this because this has been out for a while. And so if you're following this, you probably are aware of some of this information. And so I just want to get into my opinion on say what. So, yeah. So courtesy of Reality Blurb, they're just telling us about when they they made bail, they went home, and then I think maybe the same day, I just want to show you this video. Look at the melanin popping. Look at this Instagram. Dr. Wendy, you can't take Doctor from her, no matter how much y'all try. So she posted on Instagram, I want to say, October 20th. And through it all, God remains faithful. Thank you for the outpouring of love, support, and prayers for myself, and most importantly, my family during this time. We are forever grateful. So she's still out here popping. And if you're watching the current season, you know that she wore this to the pre-Nick or whatever they call it there. Oh my God, that season. But this is not what this is about. And then Eddie later followed with this picture of his family, with the scripture, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3:5-6. My only issue with this is if you guys did do this, this scripture would have been handy before doing that, like leaning into God's understanding, not your own. And I understand the economy is crazy. It's crazy. And a lot of people are in debt. Even people who have money are in debt. I think Dolly Parton's amusement park was closed. I don't know if it was due to the economy or whatever, but there's a lot of big things that's been around, and Staples has been around for a while that are now being closed due to the economy or whatever. And so I love that they're leaning on the Lord, but you have a lot of people saying, well, where was God when you were doing this? Of course, people are going to say that. And I think once again, and I always talk about like social media, and especially with her being on the show, Wendy's always reading people and she's always standing up for justice and what's justice and what's right and for what's wrong. And so for this to happen, it's just kind of like, what? What? So, and you kind of get upset, and I don't know, I just kind of felt like
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you learn something from this?
Right, it's really heartbreaking. Like, I hate to be dramatic about it, but it's look at me all in my shirt. Like, it's really, really heartbreaking. And so this episode is basically like what happened. Like, I understand that she had a lot of pressure from her family, like to be, and I believe in the Nigerian culture, there's a lot of pressure to be successful. Period. They have 8 degrees combined. Like, I think Eddie has 4 and she has 4. And then there was an episode on the season before now where where Wendy was talking about her birthday party and all her mom was concerned about, her allowance or whatever, and her mom was, she was scared to tell her mom that she was quitting, her job and things of that sort. And so I feel like Wendy, when she turned 40, as most people turn 40 do, because I'm kind of like on that too. Like, you want to be this new person and you finally want to live for you. You find that you've been living for people and living up to their expectations. And now you're like, man, I just want to be free. You know what I'm saying? So we're still going to get into this insurance part. So this is the part that I think that's really like throwing people like completely off, is because she had a whole interview about this burglary. And like I said, later on, people saw that she had the band. Now, my thinking at first when people were talking about her having the marriage ban was, couldn't they have just rebought it? You know what I'm saying? Like, couldn't they have had it remade? I mean, especially if you're getting 20,000, they got more than 20,000, but you filing a $20,000 claim. If you got that money, couldn't she have just purchased another bed? Like, that's what I was thinking. But when they're finding like multiple items in the home, when they raided the home, they found multiple items, and so then that kind of just like squashed my theory, which I don't know what's sad about it, y'all. Like, how do y'all feel about this? Like, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I know they say you're not supposed to look up to people and have idols and stuff, but sometimes you just do. Like, you just admire who they are. And even though Wendy, kind of changed from before and after, and we'll get into that later, I still feel like the foundation of her was like Black excellence. And it still is, to me, Black excellence. You know what I'm saying? Because she's not proven guilty yet. So let's get into this. Is courtesy of Keiarna. Now, I've never watched the channel Keiarna. However, he has been like covering this whole story extensively. So I'm all on it or whatever. You see Keiarna, I just subscribed because I like this. And so
the world is still reacting to the arrest.
Wait a minute. Is this talking over me? I think it is. All right, go ahead, Keiarna.
Arrest of Real Housewives of Potomac stars Wendy Osefo and Eddie Osefo, apparently for insurance fraud. But of course, fans are picking apart interviews that they've done, including an interview that she did back in October of last year when it comes to the burglary that the authorities are accusing Wendy and Eddie of lying about. And if you've been under a rock, we've given you the full details on some of the accusations that came out from this arrest. Wendy and Eddie have released a statement stating that they look forward to their day in court and they are back home with their family, and they're asking for privacy during this very tumultuous time.
Forgot that in April, your home was broken into or something. Was this during filming that this happened?
I think it was right before.
Okay.
Like, literally before camp went up. It happened because my family was away on spring break. It was our spring break trip.
See, that's already suspicion number one. The burglary happened when Bravo wasn't around for the video, so a lot of people are kind of saying, well, it seemed kind of planned because you guys like had this robbery when none of the cameras are around, because they're always under cameras because of the show. Let's keep going.
With the kiddos, and I was just so heartbroken. Like, I think a few of my first initial scenes, I'm just a little bit uneasy because we had just been violated, so to speak. It was the worst thing. It's so unexpected, especially since from my vantage point and from the investigators' vantage point, it was targeted,
Really?
Yeah, because I've lived in this neighborhood for, a long time, but since the neighborhood has been in inception for over 20 years, there has been no burglary.
So I don't know what she mean by a long time because they moved, and we'll get into this later with Funky Dineva. They moved into this neighborhood right before she became a part of the RHOP show or whatever. And so I think she started at like season 5 and they're on season 9. So that's about 4 or 5 years. And she says that this community has been around for 20 years and they've never had a burglary. Do you see the suspicion on the interviewer's face? So that was number 2. Number 1, the burglary happened when all the cameras seemed to be away, and number 2, a burglary happened where there's barely anyone robbing. And as far as neighbors, like, did neighbors see anything? Like, I feel like if they can have a witness of neighbors seeing any suspicious activity in front of their house, that may help them. I'm no lawyer, but if no one saw anyone suspicious in their neighborhood, or because I mean they took a lot of stuff out, and they could have did it at night or something, but nobody heard anything because it felt like this is a quiet and good neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, where is, if you hear any type of noise or any nuances, like, it would stand out. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah.
Like nothing. And so it's so heartbreaking. And again, like going back to my earlier statement, where at my core, what centers me is motherhood. My first thought was my kids. And part of the reason
he don't believe her now
why I live where I live is for their safety, for them to have ample acres to be able to run, play, enjoy, free of anything. And when someone comes into your home, which is such a sacred space, and violates you in that way, you start questioning things. So I'm just glad that we are okay, we're safe, and we are able to move forward from that as a family. But man, that was definitely gut-wrenching.
And being robbed is a violation. It is a violation. If this actually happened, it is a violation. I believe when I was a kid and our apartment was robbed, like, I was so scared to be in that. But I think we moved shortly after. It was just so scary it was just me and my mom. And so we're there, and it's just a violation. Like, your stuff's been moved, people and all in your stuff. And then it's like that worry, like, are they going to come back and get what they didn't get? And now, these people know everything that's inside your home. Like, it is a violation and you don't feel safe anymore. So I can understand her feeling that way if she said it happened. So we're going to go with what she said, because like I said, it hasn't been proven otherwise, but I haven't seen anything about like neighbors or anyone of that sort, like saying, any type of witnesses. But like I said, the trial hasn't started yet. So maybe when the trial starts, we can get more information. We can get more witnesses. We're going to take a pause before we get into Carlos King, because he did an interview with Vicky Gunvalson, who is a part of the Real House of Somewhere. I only watch Potomac, so I only really know the Potomac people. And Gizelle is my girl. I'm just going to throw that out there. I love all the ladies, but like Gizelle has been there since 1, and Karen, I really miss her this current season. Anyway, we're going off subject. This is why I should have my notes right. So let's take a break for SNHU. Hey y'all, before we jump in, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University, or SNHU. So there was a point in my journey where I felt completely stuck. I had ideas, talent, drive, but I wasn't in the space that let me grow. And honestly, I thought maybe I had picked the wrong path a long time ago. Like, my degree wasn't even connected to who I have become. That's why I love what SNHU is doing. They offer fully online degree programs that help you prepare for new opportunities in fast-growing industries, whether it's business, marketing, psychology, or HR, like yours truly. Now, SNHU is one of the largest accredited online universities in the United States, and their tuition is some of the lowest in the country. Plus, their faculty has real-world experience, so you're learning from people who actually get it, right? If you're feeling stuck or like your current career doesn't reflect your potential, this could be your chance to shift. You deserve a degree that reflects who you are now, not who you were when you started. Make sure that you go to snhu.edu/BYOK, or you can click the link down in the comments. And as always, don't forget to be your own kind, and let SNHU help you get there. Bye. I love that. I love that. And then you can have degrees and be Zen win. Not in this instance, but Zen win period. And it's so hard, like when you're trying to tell the truth in your opinion, it may seem like you're attacking a person, but you're not. I think that in this day and age with social media, it's like anything you say, it get misconstrued. If a person doesn't agree with your opinion, then you're just totally wrong, or you're discriminating and things of that sort. But it could just simply be a opinion, especially on this, because we weren't there. We don't know, what really happened or whatever. We only are going off of these information and videos and commentary. Like we don't know what happened. We're just hoping for the best. And I think people that are fans of Dr. Wendy just want to make sense of it. You know what I'm saying? This is why I watched this video, which we're about to get into, with Carlos King. I saw a video about him. This is also another person I don't really know about. Because like I say, I'm not really a reality TV person. I really just I like my certain ones. And as far as the Real House franchise, Potomac is the one. I've been watching it since season 1 and still watching it today. All right, so Vicky is in insurance, and so she kind of explain why this is a big deal, and she's even wondering how. Anyway, let's just get into what she's saying.
And you increase your deductible to save money on the premiums, and now you've got to be, though with her, again, we're innocent until proven guilty. It doesn't look good for them. It just doesn't. When you're prosecuted, I don't know, a year later on a claim that you filed, there's been behind the scenes investigations to get to this place. So shame on them if they did, because we're all paying the premiums for people that are not ethical.
Monday.com. So talk to me about this. You said something that I definitely want to get into. You mentioned how, yes, in 2024, the Osefos said their house was burglarized. And because of that, they filed claims from 3 different insurance companies. So before I get to what happened a year later, I do want to ask you this, because this was confusing, Vicky, to a lot of us. Due to the burglary that arose allegedly, they had home site insurance, Jewelers Mutual Insurance, and Travelers Insurance. Before I get into the detail, when a house gets burglarized, is it typical to go through 3 different insurance companies for 57 items that were allegedly stolen?
Right. Like don't the insurance talk to each other? Anyway, let's go.
Well, 57 items is a lot. You can't memorize all 57. So obviously she had them itemized. And I have Jewelers Mutual for my jewelry, for my diamond rings, for my diamond earrings and things like that. But obviously it's not 57. I got 4 items. She's paying a big premium on that. Now, Travelers might have been her homeowner's insurance. So then she has a jewelry claim, a homeowner's claim. And then what was the third one?
Travelers.
So Travelers, Jewelers Mutual, and what was the third one?
Oh, home site insurance. Okay,
so she's got maybe laddered the coverages for if and when a burglary happens. Most people.
Oh, okay. So it was within other. It was different insurance types. But it was all like burglary clauses. And coverage. I understand that.
People, as a broad stroke, have jewelry insurance itemized, and then their homeowner's insurance. And homeowner's insurance typically does not cover jewelry up to maybe a cap of $5,000. So she had to itemize. If she had that many items, I don't really understand how she can collect on all 3, because typically it's a policy that, oh, you're claiming on that, so we're not going to cover on this. So there's a lot of funny stuff going on there. I'm not in claims. I write policies, and when I write the policies, obviously we very much disclose. If you lie, cheat, steal, and make a claim that's not ethical, it is fraud, and you will be punished by jail or rescinding, paying back the claims.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is, even if you have a clause, if one insurance is covering a burglary, the other insurance is not going to do it, so it doesn't overlap like that. So how did that happen?
Just like if you crash your car into a wall and you said somebody smashed into you, it's illegal. So you have to do things ethically. And in my business, I'm part of the National Ethics Bureau. I'm licensed by the Department of Insurance. We have an oath of conduct as an agent, as a professional business owner. And I teach and tell my clients, this is a policy that's there when you need it. It's not there to take advantage of. So.
And I get that, but I feel like, and maybe I'll do a video about insurance, because I don't understand how you could pay so much into an insurance, and then when an actual event happen, you still have to come out with the deductible, even though we signed for this deductible, and only certain things can get covered if you've been paying for that. And then what happens if an event never happens? you're just, you know, I feel like at the end of the year you should get some percentage of your money back just for nothing happening, because you're paying just in case this thing happened. But even when this thing happened, if you get into a car accident or someone steals whatever, you still if you don't have the money, you still have to come up with that deductible just to get that coverage. But you've been paying a monthly payment, or by monthly, or however you pay it, you've been paying into it anyway. So why the deductible? Like, things like that I don't understand. If you are an insurance person, please contact me, because I would really love to understand insurance. I mean, I have it because we're supposed to, but like I said, in case of an event, it's like, but I still have to pay you more to cover something that I'm paying frequently. You know, that I'm paying frequently in to have coverage. So insurance is just that tricky thing. And so for them to have understood insurance and what they can get from their insurance, crazy. Like, well, we have to remember that these are intellectuals and they read, you know what I'm saying? And not saying go out here and commit insurance fraud, but know what's in your know what your coverage is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's see if she said any more before we move on.
You know, maybe she thought she got away with it. I don't know. Allegedly is a big word, but it doesn't look good for them, right?
Well, it doesn't look good because I believe they did 3 insurance. Like, I feel like if it was just one insurance, maybe they would have gotten away with that. But like I say, I don't know. Like, I don't even know why this had to happen. Like I say, Eddie has Happy Eddie. You know, they said that was thriving. You know, it's a cannabis business. She had teaching a reality TV. They have investments. He's an entrepreneur. Her husband is a lawyer. And so it's just wondering, like, you know, maybe they just need to, a lot of videos I'm watching are like, well, maybe they just need to keep up with the Joneses. And I feel like it's, maybe they did need the money, whatever, we don't know. But I feel like, what extenuating circumstances had to happen for this to happen? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So let's see. So the next thing I wanted to get into. So when Dr. Wendy started, you know, we had Dr. Wendy, the commentator, 4 degrees, just had a baby. You can see, like, even in the body language, I'm not one of them body language experts or whatever, but you can see right here, like, it's confidence, but it's not. It's still insurity in there somewhere. You see her shoulders are slumped. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's confident in who she is, but she wants to be more. She wants to tap into something more, you know? And this is not me just guessing. It's just me watching the show, because she went from night to day. And then next thing you know, we got Zen Win, baby. We got Zen Win. She had the baby. She done with the breastfeeding, and baby, she came out and she came out to play. This is Miss Zen Win, honey. This is Melanin Poppin', because I think she always, like, kind of, she knew she was smart. She knew she was an intellectual, but she wanted to tap on that softer side. And I feel like when you're striving and you're people pleasing, because a part of me feel like she was people pleasing with her mom or whatever, I feel like it's pressure to that. It's pressure to that. So my heart went out to her, like, is this all that you want to do? And she showed us the last season when she turned 40. I quit. I was courageous, and I did some things that I've always wanted to do. I stepped outside, and now I'm living the life that I want to live. So with all this newfound freedom and all these accomplishments comes pressure too. So even in the freedom of being who you are, you still have to earn money. You still have 4 kids, and she still has to teeter the line, because I believe that her reputation means a lot to her, which is why she's probably fighting now. If you don't know what's currently happening now, she wants to separate the lawsuits, meaning that Eddie and her have separate lawsuits, separate trials, which is very smart. Once again, she is married to a lawyer. So say she gets off, you know, on all accounts, or a couple of, you know, she only get guilty for a couple of counts. that's less time on her, and she could be home with the babies just in case he don't get off and he has to serve a longer time. So I think as far as parenting, that actually makes sense. So one parent can at least be with the children, you know what I'm saying, and give them, you know, the best type of stability that they can give them in this situation. It is unbeknownst to me, or even hard for me to understand how she had no recollection of this if she reported, you know, and called the insurance companies and things of that sort. If a robbery didn't happen and you called the insurance company, you're pretty aware that you're doing something, you know, illegal. However, there was a, you know, it's Bravo, so you can't really like take from their episodes, but there was an episode when Stacey was going through a divorce at that time. And she talked with the lawyers or whatever, and her husband had was over the finances, and she said she didn't even know what was due, whatever, because she doesn't handle the finances. And Dr. Wendy responded and was like, you know what, I don't handle the finances either. Like, I can't tell you, you know, anything that's being paid. Like, I take care of the children, like that's what I do. And so it's really easy for me to understand too that she might not have known to the extent that this went. She might not have had that much knowledge of how, you know, if she had an idea that it was fraud, I don't think she knew the extent of this situation because she doesn't handle anything. So just because her name is signed on things, that doesn't mean she signed them, y'all. That doesn't mean she signed them. So it could be a possibility that she didn't play a major part in this, you know. But a lot of people are like, well, she could have. I think she has some knowledge. I really do think she has some knowledge. Then everybody's trying to paint Eddie out to be this manipulator and this and that. Look, we don't know these people. We don't know. They look happy. They even look happy in the mugshot. These happy people. I don't know if they woke them up out their sleep and they wasn't woke yet, but that is the happiest mugshot I have ever seen in my life. So, I mean, so I don't know if they popped a happy Eddie that night and then this happened. I don't know what happened, but that mugshot was pretty happy. But anyway, back to my point. I think, you know, Real House of Potomac kind of gave Wendy that gateway or that opening to tap more into someone she probably always wanted to be, in conjunction to who she already was. And so this is when, like, okay, so we see the picture, you see she got the mommy makeover, and then Mia comes on the show, and I mean, she's been Zen Wen, but when she became Zen Wen, she came less Zen. Like, she was reading people. Like, remember this episode?
You at Karen's house because I respect people's house, but today I have time. I am Zen Wen, so do not try to come for me because what I do have and what I will always have is time. So TikTok, Mia.
Right. So that ain't Zen at all. She did read me or whatever, but it was a difference because, I mean, she was reading people before the mommy makeover, but when she became Zen Wen, baby, ain't nothing finna happen. I remember that time when they all noticed it, especially Gizelle. Gizelle always get a bad rep, and this is not a Gizelle show. I know we're talking about Wendy. However, like, what you see is what you get with Gizelle. Gizelle's gonna be honest, whether you want to hear it or not. She says she messy and she lives up to her messiness, but she's going to be honest about how she feel, and she gonna stir a mess. You can always count on her to do that. But what I love about her is what you see is what you get. She's not going to pretend to like you. Like, for instance, if you haven't seen this new season, they on a whole retreat and everybody got their name embroidered in their robe but Stacey. So, you know, Gizelle gonna be with the shade, baby. But I honestly I mostly agree with her anyway, but I agree with her at this point because this is when they realized, her and Robyn, I miss her on the show, her and Robyn realized like maybe there's a little change in her. And I'm only gonna play like a little bit because I don't want to get copyright. So let's do 1.5 and let's go.
A little different.
Yeah, but like what? Like I can't put my finger on it. Like today on the bus, I was like, something's different about you.
That bodysuit, that made my crotch hurt. Like,
are you going to the bathroom? No, I just have a wedgie. Okay.
No wonder she has a wedgie. It's a bodysuit. Despite the physical changes, I just feel like something is off. For me, I just want to know, are you okay?
That's what I want to know too. Girl love.
Right, because it was such and that's it, because Bravo ain't finna play with me. And it was such a different change in her. Like, and I don't want to say it's bad, because if you've been raised a certain way to be a certain person and you've been put in this box, it kind of makes sense that you want to like break out of it. But this just it this the whole point, I think, of having Wendy on the show was because she was different, and it looked like she was conforming into like the quote unquote regular Real Housewife, like, and it's like I felt like she was put on there to maybe encourage people to go the other way, but then she went the other way. And I think that's the optics of it as to why people were like, well, who is this person? Like, who is that? I mean, back to this. Like, I think it was supposed to be the other way around. Everybody's supposed to kind of like be more reserved like Dr. Wendy. And then she turned into I guess the quote unquote regular housewife, whatever that is, and I feel like you can be an intellectual and you can be sexy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you have to be one or the other. I feel like it's more than duality. Like, it's of us, like we have different layers, different levels or whatever. I just think when people put you in a box and people have a perception of you, and then you go out that box, now everybody thinks something wrong with you. So I really think something became right with her when she started like embracing herself and getting more into herself. But what do I know, babe? So anyway, before we get into Funky Dineva and what happened prior, I just want to go back to before she was on the show and just kind of like see, like, did anything happen like pre Real House Wife of Potomac that may have just been a build up over the couple of years that she has been on there. So we're just gonna do a little commercial and we'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. People often think anxiety looks one way, but it has many faces and many emotions that sometimes can be overwhelming and daunting. I know about this feeling all too well, because at a point I felt powerless to my emotions, almost to the point of drowning in them. So I decided to seek out a therapist to later learn that I have generalized anxiety disorder. If you have been experiencing the same feeling, please know that BetterHelp is here to help. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. You have the option of talking with a therapist in a private, online environment at your convenience. There is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that may not be available in under 48 hours. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific need, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you will schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you get to exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. Thanks to therapy, I learned the tools that I needed to conquer my anxiety and over-obsessive thinking. I did it afraid, and I took that leap to talk with someone, to later learn that it was going to be okay and that I was going to be okay. Please know that you can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the 3 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. And better yet, get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/BYOK. That's betterhelp.com/BYOK, because you deserve it. You do deserve it. Therapy is the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm not even anxious like that anymore. I learned grounding and how things, things that don't work out doesn't always mean a bad thing, and therapy really works when you're trying to heal from people pleasing and having to seek people approval and validation is what really this show is about. If you're wondering where I'm getting at, I feel like this is a case, like a general case of people pleasing gone wrong. Like, you can't, she decided she didn't want to be a people pleaser, but then she was teeter-tottering. And I don't know her personally. This is just by me watching the show. Like, everything's allegedly, remember?
Allegedly. Allegations. Redacted. Allegedly. Allegations. Lawsuit.
All right, so I just want to get, I made like little banners and I'm not even using it, and I don't even know if it matters anymore. Well, I'll put this here. So she was building a dream. Like she did build a dream. I feel like by the time she started with I'm gonna take that off now. By the time she started with Real House of Potomac, like she already had these things, like everything that we saw in the beginning of the video. She's already acquired this, and so Funky Dineva, this is allegedly. I know a little bit about Funky Dineva, but he seems pretty credible to me. And he has some important things to say about, and this video is like 5 years old, so this is about the time where she first started Real House of Potomac, and I guess his word on the street. I'm gonna let me see. We're gonna do 1.5, and hopefully we can understand it. If not, I'll slow it down. What happens if I do this? Does it make it bigger? There we go. All right.
All off as, Quentin, you are a stupid American, and these people in Nigeria, they have a whole different culture, one of which you're not a part of, and there are a lot of things that you may just not understand, and leave it at that. But something in my soul, there's something, it just didn't sit right with me.
What's wrong?
So I started digging around and fishing around and reading in the comments, and I found out some very interesting information. Now let me start off by saying I'm not passing any of this information off as true, but it does create a good conversation piece, especially for us silly Americans who are not that abreast of what goes on outside of our own bubbles. So
Right. And I saw the term Osu, and I looked that up, and I kind of want to do a video on that, but I don't know if I would do it without a Nigerian presence. So let's get back to the subject though.
I did not know, unbeknownst to me, I did not know that much like in China and in India, that there is a caste system in Africa. It's old, it's antiquated.
That's Osu, that's the caste situation.
I want to use the word barbaric, but I don't want to offend anyone because I don't understand the culture. And there allegedly has been a family member who has come to the light from Eddie's side of the family who has said, basically, the reason why Eddie's family does not come around or does not want anything to do with Eddie and Wendy, that marriage, or those children, is because Wendy's family is from a cursed or undesirable bloodline.
And that's hard to believe because in one of the seasons, Wendy's mom said she was friends with Eddie's mom, and the fallout didn't happen until marriage. So maybe it was cool for them to be friends, but not for them to be family. I don't know.
As a result of, it brings shame, misfortune, bad luck upon the family. And based on the caste system and the way they operate, if you are from a certain bloodline, you are not supposed to intermingle with this lower class bloodline. The alleged source is alleging that Wendy's family is from the lowest of the low in terms of bloodlines in Igbo Nigeria culture, called the Osu caste. And I guess the Osu caste refers to an old school caste system that was used in Nigeria. Now, without any further research and on the surface, just hearing that part alone, without being able to verify if it's true, false, or somewhere in between, that felt right. That made more sense. That allowed me to wrap my head around what's going on, because I'm just not buying your mama and his mama don't get along, therefore she didn't want you to marry him. I didn't get it.
I don't know why that couldn't have been it, but I see what he's saying.
I began to read more and research a little more lightly. I was brought to the understanding that in Nigerian culture, marriage is not just about the two people. It's about the marriage of the family, and that everything you do is selfless. It's not just you. It's the merging of two families. So you do have to consider everybody's feelings and how everybody will gel and well. And okay, and I can then wrap my head around that.
And I believe that because if you watch enough 90 Day, you do understand, like, it's not like America. Like, you get married and it's just the two of you. When you get married in other cultures, you have to still make sure that your parents are taken care of. It's still a community. It's just an addition to the community to help the community thrive. Like, it's not just about you two. It's about, you know, what he's saying, like, it's a collective.
Then, all things constant, if this alleged information is true, it also helps me also understand why Wendy's mom is so adamant about her standing and her chieftaincy, if I'm saying that correctly, and why it is so important for them for Wendy to have all this education. And what do I mean? Well, it feels like a slight overcompensation if this alleged information is true, and Wendy is indeed from what the Nigerians consider to be the lowest of the lowest bloodline in the caste system.
Well, I want to challenge that because Eddie also has 4 degrees. So if he's in the higher of the caste system, does he really need to do that to prove royalty, or is he just doing that because he's royalty? You can't say that one person is overcompensating and another isn't, and they have the same amount of degrees.
Then it makes sense, all of this. I have 4 degrees, and I have this, and I have that, and my mother is this.
Or it could be that she's wrapped her identity around her accomplishments, besides and not who she is. Like her worth was wrapped around her accomplishments, but not who she was as a person. That could be another factor.
Else has come to light with these 4 degrees. Honey, yes, I like that 4 degrees. I have 4 degrees, honey. What also came to light about these 4 degrees, bitch, is you 2 degrees of separation from the goddamn IRS, because they say Wendy and her husband combined own $1.5 million in student loan debt, allegedly.
And that's understandable. Now, this is where we get into they needed the money. Like they needed the money before they got on the show, allegedly.
Which also further helps this story make sense. Something else that rattled my spirit but didn't move me to chorus and allowed me to sleep easy was typically, and because I am so close to this situation from a friendship perspective and from knowing producers, from being in Atlanta for 10 years, even now having these relationships, it is very hard traditionally for them to find women of Wendy's pedigree educationally and professionally to participate in reality TV. Most women who are in high social status or of high educational status, for whatever reason, they tend to look down on reality TV.
They do, but now we got like a princess on there now, Real Housewives of Potomac. So I think now it's just a mixture. It's more diverse, in a sense.
Very lowbrow to them because they, with very large strokes, paint the whole thing as I'm not going to be somewhere fussing with a bunch of women, throwing bottles, acting ratchet, embarrassing my husband, so on and so forth. I'm classy based. I don't need it. And furthermore, typically, people who have that level of affluence, success, and education, quite frankly, don't need the money. So knowing that, and knowing that Wendy does not fit the traditional educational mode of the average housewife, I was like, okay, this is different, but I was able to rock with it because I thought maybe Wendy was being a pioneer. I thought, okay, maybe Wendy's going to come in and change the mold, much like Remy Ma did on Love and Hip Hop, and help usher in a whole nother cycle of women who see a different side of reality TV, how they can use it to their benefit, and we get to see another perspective outside of that of the Nene Leakes archetype. Okay? And so now with this alleged information that Wendy and her husband may be in a shitload of debt, that also kind of better makes sense with some of this information. Additionally, this alleged source also reported that they both live way outside of Potomac. They were renting a home for 8 years, which isn't that big of a deal. And they recently bought a $695,000 home in 2019 just to do the show. Again,
right, 2019. So they've been in that neighborhood since 2019. So if they were already allegedly in debt, then they went more in debt purchasing a home, because I'm pretty sure that was more money than renting, because it's not like they could have sold a home and used that money, as a down payment for the new home, So it sounds like they started out in debt and then they moved, they relocated to be a part of the show, maybe in hopes to, make more money. I don't know.
I can't confirm nor deny, nor am I passing off any of this information to be true. However, it feels a bit more right than the information that we've been given. Now, I'm going to read you the passage, and again, I'm not saying that this information is true or false. I'm just going to read you what it says, and you make of it what you may. The source explained that a cursed family is often avoided by non-cursed people, saying, traditionally, when a couple decides to get married, both sides trace back their lineage to ensure that they are from good stock, and not Osu cursed, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Proceeding with the marriage, despite the discovery of Osu lineage, is not merely marrying down, but effectively destroying your family, their reputation, and limiting the social mobility of any future children.
Well, I mean, if she is quote unquote Osu curse and this is coming out, I don't think, the family was on the mend, but I don't think this is going to help Eddie's side of the family. Like, I think it's going to separate them, because now this is kind of falling into this, this curse that he speaks of. Allegedly.
We'll also recall that Wendy's mother said that she was a chief, but again, the source has countered that claim, explaining that Wendy's mom is a chieftain, but that doesn't matter if you're a chieftain of an outcasted group. Wendy's caste is an outcasted Nigerian ethnic group, the lowest caste. The outlet also reported that Wendy is in dire straits and in need of a Bravo paycheck, even though the recent episode she talked about quitting her teaching job. The source explained that the mother was one of the lowest paid professors at the university. The informer also added that public records showed that Wendy and Eddie Osefo bought a home nowhere near Potomac in June of 2019 for $695,000, but had to finance just about all of it. The reason is that the couple has over $1.5 million in student loan debt. Again, I can't confirm or deny the information, but I can say when my instincts tell me that something feels a bit more accurate than what it is that I've been told. Now,
and so after I saw that, because we'll stop there, because I watched this whole video, and I'm gonna put this video in the description because I felt like this explained the origin of work, because people were just trying to figure out, like, once again, why is she on here? You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's esteemed women on and educated women on there. But I just think she's an academic, and really, when you're in academia, you do got to watch your reputation, because the universities don't play that with certain things. So representation really matters to them. So I can understand why everybody kind of just had like the side eye of like, well, why would she even be a part of this anyway? And people are saying because she needed money, essentially. And we don't know. Like, this is all alleged or whatever. What's also alleged is, like I said earlier, like, Eddie is kind of taking the downfall for this. And like I said, I feel like both of them were aware of that or whatever. I was going to show this video, but I'm actually not, because I just kind of feel like we don't know that, and I don't want to put him down either. I'm rooting for both of them and hoping that this is just like not real. But the more that I was researching and looking at and keeping up with the the story, it was just kind of like, this is looking a little real or whatever. And so I kind of want to because I made these banners, I'm just gonna show it off and on. But I wanted to get into the co-star and Bravo universe. I don't know why I put universe reactions, just to kind of like show what these women are saying. And a lot of them was pretty messy or whatever. Majority of them were messy. Candiace was the first person that I saw that responded on this. So we're going to start with her or whatever. And she kind of like went from a different take, like more of a political take, like maybe she's being used as an example. I remember her and Wendy talked a lot on one of the reunions about how colorism is a thing with Bravo and things of that sort. So they're both real political, and Candiace is not on the show either anymore. I think she's focusing on motherhood. Congratulations, I'm all late. But let's hear what Candiace Dillard had to say.
It feels to me, we've just, gone through the Karen Huger of it all. $100, and we're arresting a mother and a father, business owners, entrepreneurs. We don't know what the charges are for, but we know that the Osefos have a very successful marijuana business. They are providing jobs and opportunities for people of color in the area, in the DMV. And so my first thought is, are they being targeted? Is this something that we should be thinking about? I'm floored.
So I understand what she's saying, because there's such a positive light, could they have actually did something like this? But like I said, duality, you could be a good person and still do something bad. Doesn't make you a bad person. You just made a poor decision. So we're just hoping that that's not it. But after I saw Candiace's response, I just did a quick chat GPT just to know about the area, about race in the Potomac, Maryland. And it says that it's an affluent suburb in Montgomery County, close to Washington, D.C. Many residents are professionals, including people of color, but historically and structurally, affluent suburban areas in the U.S. have been shaped by patterns of racial segregation, redlining, county services, disparities, and zoning laws. In many U.S. jurisdictions, Black residents may face differential policing, different interactions with law enforcement, or disparities in prosecution and sentencing. That is documented in many regions, though not necessarily every place in scholarly studies. The idea of being targeted legally is not unique to Potomac. It echoes what many communities across the U.S. have argued when they feel the legal system disproportionately penalizes them. So Candiace's claim may be touching on a broader systemic issue of race, class, and who gets scrutiny under the law, but it's plausible for a public figure in a predominantly white or mixed socio legal environment to feel more exposed, judged, or scrutinized. So basically what ChatGPT is saying, that's not a thing. That's not a thing in Potomac, Maryland. And it may feel like this is just a crumb to a huge systemic problem. However, these people might have just did what they're being accused of doing. So I I just want to, because I wanted to see like, well, is there any type of news or any type of discrimination that happens in Potomac? And I know that Candiace briefly touched upon Karen Huger's event, but then when Karen was convicted, then this video came out of a 30-minute video of what happened the night of the accident. And so it's just kind of like, like I say, when you put people in a box and you're told something different besides what you define them as, it's shocking, and you make excuses. And Karen Huger is still that girl, but she got behind the wheel. And so you can still be this extravagant, wonderful person, but make a wrong decision. You know what I'm saying? So and that's what makes everyone so sad, because you're rooting for these people that you're watching. But I've been there on their 9th season, I believe, 9th or 10th season. So you've been watching this, I've been watching this for 19 years. And so you feel like you know these people, but you don't really know these people. You know what I'm saying? You only know what is portrayed on social media or whatever. And so then we have I can never pronounce her name, but they call her Kay on the show. And this current video season, I don't think anybody get along with her. But let's see what Keiarna had to say.
Osefos about 10 days ago. What was your reaction when you heard this, Kay?
I mean, shocked. I was shocked, and to be honest, I was also a little bit disappointed. I didn't expect that. I just shocking. So all I have to say is just thoughts and prayers for Wendy at this time, because it's sad.
What was your?
And so the thing, we don't really know her. So I think the thing is they're really arguing hard on this season, and so I think that's why she's just a little indifferent on it, because I don't know. In my mind, Keiarna, I feel like some of this stuff that you mad at people about, you might have created in your head, but that's not what this video is about. And then the next one is Mia. I don't even know why did you understand that Mia's not on there because people were just sick of her being like messy or whatever, which is weird because everybody is messy. But I'm gonna go ahead and play what she said anyway, because I liked her hair that day. Let's see.
Literally, she just messaged me a couple days ago. She's one of the very only, like the only ones who is like, I'm so proud. What she said was, God has you covered, right? So I need a second, because
I get it.
I opened my phone, I had no idea what was even going on, and I'm like, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm very, very shocked, because I felt Miss 4 Degrees had it together. Okay? I thought she had it together. I mean, isn't Eddie an attorney, for heaven's sakes? Like, what the fuck? Excuse my language, can I not?
Yeah, but here is the negative connotation around you having a degree. That don't mean you're perfect because you have a degree. That doesn't mean you don't need money because you don't have a degree. And this is not me saying commit insurance fraud, but I'm just saying, like, in general, when people have degrees, I get that too. Like, well, don't you got a degree in this? Yes, I got a degree in this one subject. That doesn't mean that I know everything. I'm open to learn different stuff because I do not know everything. But I think when you walk around pretending like this is Kim Pyre, by the way, pretending like you know everything and you're better than everybody, because she can get condescending, especially when Zen Win pop in. And so I think because of that persona, it's just kind of like, well, you was like this with these people, like, so I don't know. I want to get into Ashley.
If you know what I mean. That's what we're doing around here. Okay, that's it. That's what we're doing. Just making melodies. All right. Don't just.
Someone said in the comment section of one of these posts, she was like, those melodies are felonies.
No comment.
Hell no.
That's my favorite song. That's my favorite soundbite, for real. And then we're gonna get into my girl Gizelle and Robyn. I guess you could say the same for Robyn. She's not a part of that, but they have anymore. But they have a show together. They, as in Gizelle and Robyn. So let's hear what these two ladies had to say. And I believe that Robyn has an issue with Wendy, so you could tell the biases a little bit in between the ladies because Gizelle had made up with Wendy, Dr. Wendy. I want to say doctor because obtaining a doctorate is not easy, so I don't ever want to downplay anyone's accomplishments. Go ahead.
Because that's what we do. We talk about stuff. All right. So anyway, so when the story first came out, it was just very vague. It was like they were arrested for fraud, and I'm like, what does that mean? What did they do? And there was no details. Like, okay, like what kind of fraud? What is it related to? And so, I put my little thinking cap on, and I immediately was like telling, because everyone was like, what is it? And I was like, y'all, I think it's related to this robbery that they had at their house.
Right.
And so I went to the Maryland case search. I looked up the case. I saw the
wait. Okay. For the record, Robyn's gonna do the research. Robyn's gonna do the research. Want y'all to know this.
Okay. I mean, because you want to make sure you're not like, I don't know, dogging somebody.
Figure it out. I'm like, let me find the facts. So I went to Maryland case search, found the case, and then I saw the dates where it was like the charges were related to certain dates, and it was all in like April 2024. And so then I was like, I went to Google and I was like, Wendy Osefo house robbed, and that came up, and it was in April of 2024. I was like, okay, so this is related to their house the robbery at their house. So I put it together before TMZ told the world what it was about.
Right.
But anyway, I mean, first I want to say I am highly shocked, surprised, and disappointed by these charges.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah. If everything that is in these documents is true, so of course you're guilty and innocent until proven guilty. But if everything in these charging documents is true, I'm highly disappointed. And then I just have so many questions, like why? Yeah.
I think that's the question all of us is asking. But I mean, if anything that Fucky.Neva alleged, if that is true, then it makes sense.
Why do we feel the need to do this?
Why?
Yeah.
That is my biggest question. Like I immediately thought, first of all, huge disappointment. Sad, right? Because this is so sad for their children, guilty or innocent.
I feel so bad for those children. Like, this is just rocking their world. Like, this is shattering their world right now.
Their parents were removed from their house and brought down to a police station and charged. They have mugshots. That is, I'm sure, super scary for their children.
Yeah.
So sad. But like, why? Well, surely not. In my mind, I'm like, this can't be for materialistic things. Like, you don't.
I mean, what else is it for though? Because it was highly intentional, highly planned, not well thought out, but thought out.
Yeah.
Well, it was well thought out because it took them a year to even figure out that it was going on. It is well thought out. I mean, they were able to finagle the insurance and actually maximize off all the coverage off this one burglary. It was pretty thought out.
I mean,
allegedly.
It makes me wonder, like, I saw a clip where she was kind of like talking about how well Happy Eddie is doing. So it makes me think like, okay, well, was that an exaggeration? Like, was that not the truth? I don't know. But it's also like, why? And then my why questions, like, why did they think that they could get away with this? I don't understand how they thought that they were going to get away with that.
She recently put out a statement, I think, or maybe her team did, about she's saying that she was, what does it say? That she was charged wrongly?
Yeah. So the lawyers, I mean, this is like typical lawyer. This is like the first step in a legal case. Honestly, it's not.
Oh, this is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what you're trying to do is, find any disconnect or any, protocol that the police didn't follow, within the arrest. And if you can find out that the arrest, something within the arrest wasn't legal, you can kind of say, well, they didn't read my Miranda rights. And sometimes cases get thrown off. A lot of cases get thrown out for reasons like that. But it seemed like these Potomac folks, I don't know, they seem a little organized here.
I mean, Karen did the same thing. She tried to get tried to say the arrest was kind of illegal and just trying to say that they didn't follow proper procedure with the arrest and with certain things.
Yeah.
This is typical legal procedure. The lawyer is going to do everything they can just to get the case thrown out on anything, on a technicality.
Okay,
so
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah,
I mean, saying that I didn't really understand it, and I read I was looking at the comments or whatever. Because at this point in time, I run to the comments so fast because I'm just like, explain this to me, y'all.
Right.
And people were like, why isn't she saying she was innocent? Why isn't she saying she was innocent? So as opposed to, I want these I wasn't processed properly, right?
Right. I think I think I'm not a lawyer, but I think as a lawyer, that's probably their first line of defense to say, you know what? let's just try to get these charges thrown out on a technicality. Boom. And then that's it, you know? Cause that number one will save you tons of money and lawyer fees and all of that type of stuff. So I think that's just like their first.
And they got really good lawyers, very good lawyers.
Attempt at trying to like get the case thrown out. I don't think it really, I'm not sure. I don't think it really has legs. Karen did attempt the same thing and we see what happened with her.
Okay. I forgot that Karen did that. I totally forgot.
Yeah. You do feel for
but with Karen, there's like a 30-minute video of her running into a tree and being drunk. So that's what I'm saying. If they have some type of neighbor that can attest to seeing any like crazy activity happening around the house, I feel like that'll help their case, you know. Any weird van sitting around, I don't know.
The kids, because you know all the kids in their school know about it or heard about it when their parents, you know, hearing their parents talk about it.
Everybody. Now, and I kind of wanted to, when you say her and Eddie, I kind of, I'm so damn crazy. I kind of wanted to be like, just for Wendy's sake, because I do like Wendy. You have your own thoughts, but I do like Wendy. And I wanted to be like, this was all Eddie. This was all Eddie. Eddie did this. I want to tell the people it was all Eddie, but I can't even say that.
Like a lot of people are hung up on like the insurance claim, which number one, I just thought was not really smart to try to file $450,000 in insurance. That's a red flag for any insurance company. Like
that's true.
They're definitely going to do their due diligence and, you know, look into it because that's a lot of money. And I think insurance companies, it's their responsibility to investigate. I'm more caught up on staging the robbery. That's what I'm caught up on. Like, dang, like y'all really were like running through, you know, going around your house.
I didn't even think about the staging of the robbery. I was thinking I think the only part that I thought of, like when we were listening to the interview, was that the robbery conveniently happened when the cameras were gone. But I didn't even think about the energy it would take to like tussle around your house and move your things and hide them. But when when the stuff was removed, it seemed like the things found their way back into their home. And that's why I'm like, well, they could have just repurchased these things, but I don't know.
You know, making the place look disheveled and taking stuff out of it. And like, where'd you put the stuff? Did you put it in a U-Haul? Did you put it in a storage locker? Like, that's the part that I'm like caught up on. Like, damn, like, really, y'all really went.
Well, that can work against them if they have neighbors that have seen them pack their trunk, you know, oddly, you know, because when you're in neighborhoods like that, especially if it's senior citizens on that block, they see everything. That's why I'm like, go find that nosy neighbor and see if they saw any type of thing. Osefos
did that, if you know what the police are saying is true. Like, I'm like, whoa. And then just not really thinking it through and thinking that the police are gonna just go with the story of, oh yeah, someone came through this unlocked window, but there's no traces of any type of like disturbance in the yard.
And when people report like things happening like that, that's reputation on that neighborhood. Like if that neighborhood has never had a robbery in 20 years and now there is a robbery in that neighborhood, that looks bad in that neighborhood, and they don't want that. So of course they're going to investigate because they don't want that area to now be known as dangerous when it was once classified as a safe neighborhood.
On the deck or in the bathroom, like no trace of dirt, no trace of the roof pebbles and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. I know because in the I don't mean to cut you off. In the defense of the police, that's their job. Their job is to do the work. Their job is to do the deal.
Right. So my thing is, if the cops didn't see any forced entry or what they're saying, any dirt or like footprints or whatever, dirt prints or whatever, why did they deem it as a robbery? Like at that point, they could have just been charged with falsifying a police report, or it could have been thrown out. Why go to the lengths of saying it's not a robbery, and then they're filing insurance claims, and then this happening? Like this could have been stopped if the police would have just said, "Nah, this don't seem." They could have just did that investigation before, because you need the police report, to my knowledge, once the robbery takes place. I don't think you can go any further without that. If I've been in car accidents, so I know that you have to provide the police report number. So I don't think it's any different when you get robbed. And you anyone listening to this, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So you need that police report to even get this insurance claim started. And so if they didn't see any of this when they came to the house, how did it get this far? Like, this is when I think of Candiace, like, you know, was this a target? Like, you know, those little things also, I don't know, it's just a challenge in my brain going back and forth with this.
DNA. Their job is to sweep it all and fix, because this goes the ID and the CSI and all those shows. They show you how they sweep it. They figure it out.
Right. They retrace the steps of a would-be robber. And so if you have someone coming through your window on the second floor and they went back out that window, you're telling me they took 57 items out the window and like there's no just nothing.
Wait a minute. Where'd you get 57 from?
That's how many items they claimed.
I want to call your.
Then I think it's weird that they claimed like 57 items. Like I feel like it would have been a little bit more believable if it might have been like 4 or 5 items, but like 57 is like, it's only so much a robber can take, especially in a quiet neighborhood like that without being heard or detected or whatever. So that's what they had to say about that. And so our last person is Miss Stacey, honey. And Miss Stacey is someone who got like a very positive feedback from Dr. Wendy when she posted that gorgeous picture, the melanin popping. Yes. And apparently Stacey has been in contact with Wendy and has been a friend to her. Let's see what Stacey had to say.
Regarding a comment that you made on her Instagram. You two are clearly very tight. Have you spoken to her, and what's been your reaction to all this?
I saw Wendy last week, and it was emotional. I saw her, and we just held each other. I support her. I'm her friend, and I can't wait for her to tell her story.
Okay.
All right, and that's all she had to say. And so she also was on another show, just saying that she called her, she's been in contact with her, and she's the only person Mia said she contacted her prior to this situation. So it seems like Stacey is the only one that's actually been talking to her, while the other girls are just doing what I'm doing, looking at videos and researching and stuff like that. So I don't really know like how deep their friendship go on these shows. Like, are they actually just co-workers, colleagues, or whatever, castmates, whatever you want to call them? Because if my friend went through something like this, I mean, at least a phone call, or they don't answer, because of the situation, at least a text saying, so sorry that this happened and blah, 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 blah. So I think it's just awkward that none of them called her, and they're supposed to be their friends. Now, Gizelle, I know they're associates and, things of that sort. So I don't see her really reaching out, but her tone was very different when it came to Karen Huger, because Karen was her friend, so, but I still feel even as a castmate or I would still reach out and send my prayers and things of that sort. But we don't know if they're not reaching out or not. But it looks like everyone is just speaking on speculation besides Stacey. So kudos to Stacey for being, a good friend, and kudos to anyone that might have reached out to her and we just don't know about it. Because like I said, we only can go off what we see. We don't really know what's going on in the background. So that's all I have to say about it. Like, I just kind of feel like, this is a very unfortunate type of deal. Dr. Wendy, we just kind of feel like, I just kind of feel like maybe the pressure, it could have been the pressure. It could have been the power, that you have within, your career, and everybody is just saying that this is the price for trying to keep up with the Joneses. Here's the thing. I don't know what's going on in your life personally, or in her life personally. And it's easy for us to judge when we're outside of that situation. And so according to Stacey, there's more to this. And so I guess we just gotta, wait and see or whatever. But what are your thoughts on it? Like, do you think that Dr. Wendy could be targeted? Do you think that she was manipulated by her husband to do this? Or do you think that they're climbing out of debt and they thought it was just a good idea to file a claim? I mean, I don't know how much $40,000 can help if you have reportedly $1.5 million in student loans, but that's why that doesn't sit well with me. Like, you can't be that broke, because $40,000 to $50,000 is not, you spend that quickly, you know what I'm saying, in their lifestyle. I might could keep that for a while, but in their lifestyle, I don't see how that's a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really love to hear about it. And also, thank you for spending your time with me, because you could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here with me.
could be anywhere you want, but you decided to be here with me.
I said the whole thing right. And so I just thank you for tuning in. And if there's a subject that you want me to dive into, put it in the comments or send me an email at info@beyourownkind.com. I am trying to work on consistency. So work with me. And I can't wait until next time of our episode of Say What. And until then, I'll talk to you later. Bye.